I would use to describe Suzanne would be pioneer, 1. 2 is sweet, just sweet. And 3 would be mentor.
Daring. Believer. Adventurer.
Crazy, sexy, cool. That's it.
Suzanne is smart, talented, funky.
One thing I will never forget, which I think was such a blessing to the Kenyan music industry, was Beats of the Season. And I think that was a brainchild. And that event in itself gave so many artists a platform, to showcase their music.
She is original. The first time I saw her on TV, I was like, when I grow up, I want to be like Suzanne.
She's one of the first people who crossed culture and worked in languages that weren't necessarily hers.
Mentor, mom, very, very shrewd businesswoman.
She's a mother, man. And I mean mother for everyone. Musically, everything.
But one of the things I must say about Suzanne is her resilience to always get up, come up, rise up like the phoenix is what has inspired a lot of us to be in what we are doing now. That's
I don't think I ever knew I was going to be a musician. I was always a musician. So it wasn't something I thought about. It's never been something I thought about. And it's never been something until perhaps university, when I changed majors from communications to music, was when it was like deliberate. Most of my youth and growing up, music was just part of who I was. It wasn't something that I consciously thought of. When we listened to music as teenagers, for us, whether it was Earth, Wind and Fire or, whoever it was, and even what I had was I'd hear the strings part and then I'd hear the bass and I'd hear the harmonies. And so for me, I always consciously listened to not just the lead singing or the melody, but what's going on around that. Now, musically speaking, we had a double single, Jamriambo and Saturday Night. Then we had Keep in Touch. Then I did, Zannaziki. We did Nipe Nikupe, 95. We did Tamtamu. We did Xawadi. And we did Midnight After Dark. Okay, so not that many when you think about it. When you think about Franco, when you think about Kamaru, when you think about DK, okay, those guys, Dio Misiani, those guys have like 20 albums, So I think it's just we were so into sort of working on something for like a long time and getting it right and doing that kind of thing, which now I don't think I would do necessarily. When I look at my son and some of the younger people, they're churning out stuff. They're churning out music. And I like that, In 2015, I was celebrating 30 years in the music industry, okay? So, and I thought, what do you do apart from just do another album? And then I thought, well, I've got this body of work that I've composed over the years. And I thought what would be really nice is to have Kenyan artists pick a song from the catalog and rearrange it in a way that would resonate with them. So I asked a whole bunch of artists, and then I realized, of course, it's not going to happen in 2015. So I relaxed and I said, it'll happen when it happens. But the fun thing was getting artists to pick a song, and some people were very sure which song they wanted to do. Others, because they didn't remember, some of them would be like, I'd send them 3 songs and be like, okay, this is one I want to do. And so we got them into the studio. I mean, somebody like Nyota Ndogo, she says she was a maid in Mombasa in 1995 when she first had Nipe Nikupe, and she decided there and then she was going to be a singer. So, there's some amazing stories. So, so she loved, so she was like, that's the song I'm doing.
Maisha ya leo ni magumu, gharama nayo imepanda, hakuna kitu cha bure, sote ni kusikilizana.
So other people, June really wanted to do, June Gachui wanted to do Not Even a Kiss. And she was working at the time with Eddie Gray, who did just an amazing arrangement.
Don't think I'm crying, don't say you're hurting, don't try to miss me, and don't you ask what I feel, don't ask why I can't see you, don't say that there's a me in you, 'cause we have nothing to talk about, nothing to miss.
There were just things, people just decided what they wanted to do. And I was like, yeah, do what you want, And what used to happen is, I'd go into I went into, when Eric called me, he had done Sioni, which I co-composed with Ali Makunguru. And, you just weep when you hear just the direction it took.
Clap your hands now. Come on! We're not gonna start the song till everyone's clapping hands. Come on. Hey! Yeah! Sioni wala sisiki, penzi lako lanitia wazimu, nishike mkono wa kulia, ni wewe tabasamu. Sioni wala sisiki, ni kweli pendo la kweli, lina utamu moyoni, ni wewe tabasamu. It's a song that has been originally recorded by Mercy Myra and written by a guy called Ali Makunguru. And so I chose this song because I really, really love it. And Suzanne came to the studio and listened to it, and she loved it, so I knew I'd done something right. So when I got asked to play tonight, I just knew I definitely wanted to do it, and surrounded by such great musicians like Hellen and Mtawali, like Abbi, Nyinza. So it was a fantastic event. The music of Kenya is so diverse, and I think we showed that today.
I've always really been excited about how a song comes together, how it's woven together, and what pieces come in, and what, what are the hooks and counter hooks and melodies and counter melodies, and I find really exciting for me. For Chris, well, first of all, I love him I love his talent, his musical prowess, he's just really, he's an all-rounder. So I had asked him, what would you like to sing? And then he chose The Crying's Over. Now, The Crying's Over is one of the songs that used to play on KBC back in the day for like all the time. And The Crying's Over is, it's a song about moving on from heartbreak. And it was this friend of mine who I had seen sort of go through this whole thing where this guy dogs on her and whatnot. And finally she says, okay, fine. And she moves on and she gets married to somebody else and etc. So it's not I'm a love songwriter. I love love songs, whether they're heartbreak songs or whatever it is. So he chose that, I think, because of maybe when he was young hearing it on radio. But what he did with it was he bangified it, for lack of a better word. And then he added a Kikuyu rhyme, Tiga Korera, something Tiga Korera, which was really nice in the 7, but really, really good, really, really great song.
Now, when I first listened to Zannaziki, particularly, I remember there was a fusion of house music with Lingala guitars in there. And it was a very inspiring fusion. It was a completely new sound. And I might add that it might have sounded a little strange. Now, when I listen to Kenyan music now, I hear almost every hit song has that electric guitar, that same electric guitar which has a little chorus and a little delay, and it's just other than that it's dry. It's so no hours and no distortions and stuff like that, but it's just that clean electric guitar, and it plays in that style of if I might say benga or lingala, if you like, and I think musically speaking is where this sound came from. I call that sound bengenge. Now, other people should give it the names, and I think we're going to have a genre that we can call ours.
My moments with Suzanne have been very special because she's very musically oriented. She's a natural. Whenever we sit down and decide to work on something, she's all in. And I like her touch. She has a very special touch in terms of music. She can play some awesome pianos. She can do programming. So it makes everything easier for me as an artist to coordinate and work with her.
Harry is one of those kids who... I first met him and he was trying to drop out of school in Form 3. And I told him, I'm sorry, you come when you finish Form 4 and then I'll produce you and we can do whatever, we can work. But he was so talented even then. So, that guy, yeah, he just oozes talent, And so he chose Pendo Lako as one of the songs. And Pendo Lako is really just a love song that originally was produced by Ambrose, the brothers Ambrose and Shaki. Mandugu Digital. So Ambrose when I was doing the original, Ambrose was at the studio. He was one of the producers there. And he did an amazing arrangement. Because what I used to do is I do a really simple, I just work on the melody and then let whoever, when we're doing the arrangement, let's work it out together. So Ambrose did an amazing production of that. So Harry came and that's the one he wanted to do. And it's really this ethereal sort of with all his harmonies and everything, and Ceased produced it.
I felt like when it was done originally, it didn't get the full exposure it needed. It was a very deep song, so I felt like it wasn't done justice to. So I had to redo it and try and get it recognized. it's very significant to me because Suzanne is like she's like my mom to me in the music world. Basically, it's quite an honor to actually have redone it.
Sitaki kupoteza pendo lako, nifiche moyoni milele. Sitaki kupoteza pendo lako, nifiche moyoni milele.
Did a song, Tell Me Why, and it was really about I wrote it when, I guess, during the clashes of 2007, and it was really about why do we all have to be enemies, and why can't we can agree to disagree and not be enemies, you know. So he put in a Kikuyu verse to it. And it's really, really a beautiful, and you know, it's funny because we never released it. And then I thought, okay, it can come into this as one of the collabos.
Always accuse me for all your sorrow. Tell me why we can't forgive. Tell me why we can't just live and let live. Tell me why. Oh, tell me why.
Back in the day, my friend Monye gave me this traditional Luo song. You know, and it's that thing of, it's about a bird that, Oyundini Tendalit. So, and it's like when you're asking the bird to go and work, to go and till the land or whatever it is, the bird is like, oh, I'm tired, I'm this, I don't know what. And then, but when you're saying, okay, the food is now on the table, oh, you didn't say, yes, now I'm ready for the food. So, so I decided to do something that was more in a you know, for me, it was more like a joke. You know, we grew up with James Brown. So it had that feel where it was, usini t-shirt with your money, or you didn't handle it. Usini t-shirt with your Nissan Sunny. In those days, it was Nissan Sunny. Usini t-shirt with the things you have, but if you give me your love, or you didn't say. So she did that, and Ceased produced it for, and you know what it is, Atemi. She just took it away. You know, she blew it out of the park.
Suzanne kind of sent me the song and was like, I think that this is something that you could do. And I listened to it and I was like, oh yeah, this is great. So for me, what it means to be, you know, to be part of this project and to have sang this song in particular is kind of like being able to be involved in something that started the music industry, right? And we're really grateful to Suzanne for all the things that she's done. And it's wonderful for me to be able to just be part of this album.
I don't want your money. Don't want to be your honey.
When I was in college, I was in a group called Charisma, and we had this show somewhere out in Karen. I don't remember what it was. And I remember that Suzanne was going to go on before us, and she was so nice about it. And she was like, "Oh, you guys, you know, you're new. Why don't you?" And she gave us her space. She gave us her spot, so we got to go on. And I'd never seen her play before. I'd heard the songs, but I'd never actually seen her perform before. And she went on after us, and we were like, "Oh, what have we been doing? Are we even involved in music?" And it was such a beautiful experience.
There's people who their voices are so amazing, and it's like they don't try. It's like there's no tension anywhere because it's just the voice that comes out.
Here's the thing, there's always gonna be someone younger than or richer than you.
That ain't a beach, no. That ain't a beach, no. Yeah. Gotta get your groove on, sister. You gotta get your groove, get your groove on.
Get Your Groove On, and that album, Xawadi, was very much me coming into my own in my 40s. Okay? And really about not apologizing about who I am, and not stereotyping myself into this is African and so I will do African. Because if I have elements of African, then it's African. If it's Kenyan. And because I'm Kenyan, it's Kenyan. So I have the elements, whether it's percussion, whether it's a guitar riff, that will always be there that are Kenyan. So that was about, here's the thing, there's always going to be someone richer, thinner, poor, whatever, than you, younger, thinner than you. But that ain't a bitch, that's life. So you just got to get your groove on, sing your own song. So, and Abbi is that kind of free-spirited guy. We call him the guru.
Actually, Suzanne tricked me into it. She called me to the studio and said, hey, what are you doing? Why don't you come over? And then when I came over, the track was playing in the studio and she told me, get in and do it. But luckily, it's a track I love, I like. I've watched it being performed several times and I love the groove in it. I love the message in it. It's about hope. No matter what you go through, you can get through it and go beyond it. That's why I love the track.
Love Power, I was called to meet somebody from UNHCR. And some, Mzungu guy, and I go there. And he told me he would like to sort of commission a song for refugees. And he said, I know Kenyans right now, it was in the 90s, I guess, because Tam Tam was 1998. He's like, I know Kenyans are really complaining about the Somali influx into the South Sea and, sort of saying how it's driving up the rents and how, everything is now getting expensive and this and that and the other. And he says, but I want you to just take it from another angle and think you woke up today, you sent your kids to school, okay? And then the warriors come in and you can't even pack because they're setting houses on fire, they're killing people, and you run and your children are in school and they will have to run, okay? So it may take 3 years for you to be reunited with your child through UNHCR and other organizations trying to trace and track and whatnot. So he's like, that's what's going on. That's actually what's happening. People aren't here because they want to be. They're here because they have to be, because just to stay alive. So and that really jolted me. So I went and wrote, Love Power. That whole thing of I've got the power to love my brother, to love my sister, and so, and also just a rallying call to people around, we need to be there for each other, and I call myself a love ambassador because I'm always this person who's like, love has got to lead, and it's got to lead us, not hate, not fear, so one of the lines is, children crying can't find a familiar face. And then grown men running, but bullets block the way, What's the use of living to die or fight another day? So Hellen Mtawali did that song. God, she was amazing.
Running helter-skelter between a rock and a hurt place. Grown men running, the bullets block the way. You wonder what's the use of living to fight another day. Children crying, children
I'm such a deep African lover. And I identified with it because the power of love, it brings in unity, it brings in community, and we need this for Kenyans. So if this was not in her mind, I think through the song, I'm able to find a sense of identity.
I think Suzanne and a lot of artists who've followed sort of in that general direction of live music have been classified as Afrofusion artists, myself included, which is a word I don't really know what it means, to be honest. I think it is a genre that has been created for people who, like, if we didn't really fit into a particular kind of box, so just lumped everybody in there. What I would call my music, what I would call Suzanne's music would be, actually let me start with this. What I would call Suzanne's music would be world music and Kenyan pop. It was what was popular at the time. It was what was on the radio.
Neema is this young, she's the other person, like for me, like Mercy Myra. These just really talented, no ego people. And so I gave her, I think, a couple of songs to choose, and she chose this one. And she chose Morata, and she chose to translate the Kikuyu part into Maasai, which was really, really nice. Yeah. Now, Morata, it's based on a Kikuyu traditional song, and it's really about friends being there for each other. Okay? So when you need a friend, I'll be there kind of scenario. But it's a song that was sung at my friend Vivian's wedding when they came to collect her. Wego wa Murata, goe katea, wa Vivian, goe katea, goe kera Sioni deonage. So I'll put it in the mirror so that I can see it. And I think that's so I'll put the beauty of Vivian in the mirror, but what is reflected in the mirror is yourself. So I loved that. I loved But so what she did, Silayio, is she put it in Maasai. Really pretty. The verse is in English, but the chorus is in hers is in Ma. And Ceased produced a really nice reggae vibe to it. Really, really nice.
Here we go. It's funny how your friends can hurt you. Whoa.
It was a pretty easy song for me to do and to accept to do because Suzanne is my friend and has been a really great mentor and friend to me, and just someone who's walked with me on my journey as an artist. Also, the song was fun. It is fun. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed doing it. I'm glad I did it.
So when I asked Wyre, there's some people here, there's only one song he wanted, and that was Kodoka Kwa. And then he asked me to do the chorus, the hook. And so we just had a lot of fun. Kodoka Kwa. It's just a fun song. Yeah. He started, can't believe I'm on this remix.
Yo, respect going out to 60. Massive track, old school to new school. Big up Suzanne. I can't believe I'm on this remix, man. I grew up on this, man.
She still had the old hook and the same melodies on it. So my challenge was to bring a whole new school vibe, and that was the dancehall vibe that I did on it.
Okay. Guaranteed for the top of your charts, are ready for your imitator. We are gonna touch you down. East African chapter, much meant to not make it stop with faster.
I think the first time I ever heard a Kenyan production featuring hip hop music or dancehall it came from back then from Samawati. And that was one of the biggest production houses back then. So the fact that they dared to bring in the new urban sound to Kenya, and which hadn't been heard before, I found it very bold, because back then I always used to wonder, okay, when are we going to start doing this new kind of urban music in Kenya? Because guys only used to think of Benga or Omugithi back then. Nobody would dare to do that hip hop or dancehall tunes back then. Big up people like Five Alive, Hardstone, K-South Flavor for bringing that new vibe. And it was because of Suzanne and Samawata Studios that happened. So I have a lot of respect for her, for being bold to step into an area that nobody had before.
One of the ways that I think I remember and I feel I identify with her music is with regard to her using other languages. Often you listen to a Kenyan singer and they only sing in Swahili, English, and their own language. But I think she's one of the first people who crossed culture and worked in languages that weren't necessarily hers. And I think that that's important for us as Kenyans to always consider that we are Kenyan first.
I'm sitting at the Java restaurant. Listening to Teddy Pendergrass ask if I want him to make sweet love to me.
I don't really consider myself a singer except, privately. But sometimes my friends ask me to bring my voice into a singing kind of mode, and I have a really, really good time. I really, really enjoyed it.
Oh, Mumbi. So here's the thing. It's a song that I hadn't recorded. No. I had written it the time of the Pendo Lakos and whatnot, but I never recorded it. I don't know why, but I've always loved it.
He loves me, I know, 'cause he told me so. He loves me. He loves me, I know, 'cause he told me so.
The song is simple enough. It's, I guess, in my mind, about a woman who's trying to convince herself almost that this guy loves her. Baby loves me, or could be it can be said in many different ways. But the way that I think I was trying to say it is it's almost like I'm telling myself, baby loves me.
And it's just one of those things, I know, 'cause he told. It's a mischievous song. It's a playful song, and you just have the attitude that you could pull it off. I guess I write about different things, and I learned that if I'm looking inwards to myself too much, I don't. It becomes too. Is it indulgent or too, I don't know what, self-indulgent? Mm-hmm. And I don't like to be self-indulgent. So I like to look at stories, at what's going on, what people are going through, and even if and what I resonate with, and then write it from a bit of a distance. So Ali B was this young, talented, he had this group of 6 dancers, and so they'd come and they'd be part of the, the fillers for the show. After that, he became a singer, and a pretty damn good one at that. So he's had I think a fairly good career, and so I asked him, would you like to do a song? So he chose Nakuwaza, which is a song I co-wrote with Makunguru, one of the songs I wrote with Makunguru. And Alex produced it. Oh my God. Lovely, lovely song.
Nakuwaza wewe, nataka kukuona wewe nyumbani kwangu mimi, tuwe pamoja nawe. Pamoja nawe, rudi
Kwaheri is a song that really was a dedication to Ali. But what we did was we made it a dedication to all the musicians who have passed away through the years. But it was really, for me, it was for Ali. Yeah. So it's just, I'm going to get weepy. But it was just really about, we've had a good time. We've shared some good times. Yeah.
I took it at a time when, of course, my grandmother was going through a lot of hospitals and, operations and stuff, So when she passed on, and I completed the song, for me it meant a lot because it's a way of saying her goodbye. It's a farewell song. So for me it really meant a lot because it has a very deep feeling to it. It's not just a song that someone woke up and thought about. No, it's a song that is dedicated to someone. And for me that made it a whole more, deeper to do the song and, just experience that vibe. Kwaheri, watch out for the song.
Till we meet again.
When I think of who else have we lost in the time, of course Achieng' who with her fiery personality, we worked together a lot and we fought quite a lot as well. But we had was a real respect for each other because she, I guess when I first went solo, I asked her to help me with voice training, which she did. So she was very, unpretentious in that way and very, very also generous. But she chose chemistry to sing. And I remember her telling me her son told me that that's her kind of song, that's her voice.
We change, yet stay the same. We grow, but cannot tame the chemistry. Cannot tame the chemistry. We cannot tame the chemistry that makes me want you, makes you want me.
But Achieng', we worked on a lot of stuff for national days, stuff for the UN. So we did a lot of collaborations on that, yeah.
Suzanne has been a pioneer. Genge, Kapuka, all these things came when Kine Suzanne were doing it, They were doing it. They had the Afro, I'd say Afro pop sound actually. So for me, if I put Suzanne's music and what's happening in the Kenyan industry, it's just a progressive thing, Like they started the whole thing. They started it. We learned from the best, and that was them, So I don't think there's a difference. What we hear from her music, and especially not just her music, even just the music from back in the day, is something that guys grew up listening, and it's something that has shaped now what we look at. Kapuka, unajua, Genge, unajua, all these different sounds came from what we were listening to, and it was the Kinazanas who were doing it at that time.
I think people were so surprised. First of all, that young people can sing in Luo, and then also that it had this English part, and then it had the Seben, So it was, I think, what really got people's attention. And here we were, these girls who'd all been to college and everything, and this is what we had decided to do in terms of our identity. And so we had several producers. One was Ulopa, my nephew. The other was Alex. And the other was Ceased, Klaus. He's Danish and married to a Kenyan girl. And between the three of them, and then of course a few people self-produced. Eric with Tim, and Chris Adwar, of course, he's his own producer. So we had quite a nice mix of Kenyan and and then Danish. And what Ceased did was he also mastered everything. so that you have this sort of real good quality, music album in the end.
Joy how this feels. Welcome to love, where dreams become real. Be with me, be with me, be with me, be with me. You're mine. Be with me, be with me, be with me, be with me.
For me to be asked to be a part of this is so honorable, and I don't know how much more to be grateful or how to say thank you to her for everything that she's done for me in my life. And I'm just so happy to be here and so happy to be a part of this woman's path and her guidance and she's my mentor and I love her, and I couldn't say it anymore how much I love this woman. So I'm just happy to be here.
What Kina Suzanne used to do, aka Mom, So, man, I'm humbled, first of all, to be in the presence of all these legends that mimi mwenyewe nimegrow nikiwasikia, nikiaspire, nimewaka nao, nimepata opportunity kuwa stage moja now. So for me, it's a big thing.
The songs that Suzanne wrote are very, very powerful, and I think they're very inspirational. The more reason I wanted to be here to join hands with her as we remember Achieng, and as we remember my brother, as we remember those who have been hit hard by hatred. Let's spread love. Let's speak love. Let's speak to one another love. Suzanne, thank you so much for involving me in this. And Kenyans, what we need is love.